I scheduled a month and a half ago, and today was like the closest opening that I could get at the DMV, because there's two ways that you can go. You can either schedule out or you can just wait in the line. Pull the number and you're just sitting there and waiting. I wasn't about to do that.
No.
I wasn't about to do that.
I will say, on my side of town, out in Sherwood, you can get in and out.
You can get in right now?
Pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this was not the case. I was up at like Delta Park area. Boy, it was an experience at the DMV.
Yeah,
It almost kind of smelled like
sure.
at different portions. There was a lot of smells going on. You had some fancy smells. People that smell like their foo-foo powder. They got their cologne on. They got their perfumes on, and that you can handle that. You got some heavy smoker smells where you're just like, whoa.
You went all the way to Delta Park to hit the DMV?
Yeah, that was the closest one I could schedule an appointment for.
Okay.
And it's the one close to where we work. It was only 10 minutes from here.
All right, fair enough. Also,
because I knew I'd be coming to work.
The stream should be up and running now. And
Perfect.
also, was not my fault. I am not trying to throw Joey under the bus, but Joey said that it was his fault.
Okay.
Anyway.
So you just did throw him under the bus.
I did. Well, yeah. But anyway.
We're not trying.
He was in here working on some things to get ready for our broadcasts tomorrow and such. And anyway.
Okay.
But we're good.
Well, I'm not pointing fingers here.
We're good. We're up.
This is.
I'm pointing fingers. I pointed it right at Joey because he
right.
said to point it at him. So.
We are on youtube.com/1080am the fan now. So you can go, let the YouTube chat kings go ahead.
We're
chime
good.
in.
We're live.
But the DMV, scheduling an appointment is so much easier. And so for all of you that have your renewals coming up, try to schedule that thing out. Because when they say like 10:30 is your appointment, you're gonna get in right at 10:30. Like you will get that appointment.
Mine expires this year.
See, now you can do this. Just start looking now, because your birthday's in November,
October. Yeah,
October. Your birthday's in October. Probably just gonna get that appointment. Just schedule it. You don't have to wait in the line for that long. Just show up 20 minutes before, and boom. You're there, or you can check in like online. I had no experience with this. This is public service announcement right now. You could check in online, and boom, you don't even have to sit and do the waiting. I was like, maybe I'll get in a little early. That was wrong. I was not getting in there any earlier than my scheduled time. It was just like boom. Right and ready.
Just had the realization. My address on my license is 2 addresses ago.
Yep. See, they'll get you there. They'll get you there. And here's the other thing.
Got to make sure you bring the what is it? The government bill.
I'll tell you what.
You have to have 2 pieces of mail that are not from the DMV, which is a weird thing. It's like, why can't it be from the DMV? I mean, you guys literally are sending it to me.
Sending it to me.
Wouldn't that be a good, piece of mail to have? Is the one that you sent me,
right?
And so you have to have, that doesn't count.
No,
that's
because
no
they're like, hey,
countsies.
you know what? We don't trust us.
That's no yeah, right. That's no countsies on that. You know how hard it is in the world of online bill paying to find 2 pieces of mail now,
right?
that
No
qualify.
Kidding. Wait, does this QFC mailer count?
Yeah. They found me. I'm sure you guys can too. And then so I'm sitting there and I have my 2 pieces of mail, and then they ask me, like, is this your current address? Because my address on my ID is not the address that we live at, because you can't even do the change of address thing like during COVID when we moved.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
It was like, they were just like, no, it's in the system.
They didn't even send you like the sticker to put on the back?
No, they didn't do that during COVID. No stickers, nothing.
No, nothing.
You just update it online.
I didn't realize I get the COVID from the sticker.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're asking me, is this your address? I'm like, well, yeah, you're reading it from your computer. Like, you have it in there. They're like, I give them the 2 pieces of mail, and they're like, is this the address? Yes, that's my address.
It's like in Cheech and Chong and Up in Smoke when they pull him over and they're like, what's your name? And he goes, well, it should be on the license there.
Yeah, I'm sitting there.
That's it. Pedro de Pacas. That's it.
And I understand like checking the address, but they kept asking me. I'm like, yeah. I felt like I was crazy. I'm like, am I answering this question wrong? Like, what are we doing here?
It's also amazing how the DMV also trusts your weight on your thing, because mine still says like 205, which Hello, Dolly. That was a long time ago.
while ago.
That was a while
Yeah,
ago.
you could be honest with them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be honest with them.
I don't have to.
But that, the other one that's hard for me with mail is that Dusty doesn't work for them. It has to be Dustin, and I'm like, oh, great.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
is that your given name? Is that your government
Yeah.
name, like Charles Entertainment Cheese?
That is my Charles Entertainment.
I don't
Cheese.
have a single piece of mail that says Daniel. on
See,
it.
that's gonna you
Yeah,
better start finding
that's gonna
some.
bite you right in your arse,
You
dude.
better start finding some,
Yeah,
my
that's-
friend,
That's not a thing.
because that's where they get you at. It's like, dude, like I am me.
yeah.
He is I am him.
The other interesting
Football
thing,
is
though-
football.
the interesting thing is though, I
Like,
have
it was the most frustrating, easy process I've ever been through because that 10-minute little appointment that I had there, that could have been 4 minutes. 6 of those 10 minutes was me convincing them that no, all of these forms of identification, my passport,
They
the
all-
ID
they
that
all
you
add
guys
up.
issued me, it's still me.
I have 3 pieces
The
of
people were great though. I will say, people have been upgraded at the DMV because I remember getting my license and my other renewals, and they just all seem miserable and mean. I had a very pleasant experience with the people at the DMV.
Mm.
I talked to 3 different people in my 10 minutes, and all 3 of them, they were great. They were all great. Now they were trying to trick me,
yeah,
but
trying to catch you because you're a terrorist.
yeah, but it may be the patchy beard, but it was a pleasant experience there.
I have 3 pieces of government ID.
Okay.
All 3 have a different first name.
Yeah, see, that's not gonna fly. You are gonna have your experience. I'm already
My
imagining
license
this right now.
says Danny.
No, there's no way. Your
There's
license.
no way. Come on, seriously.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, his license does say Danny.
We both have huge.
How is this? How does this happen? How? And by the way, you've shown me 2 pieces of identification. You don't look like the same person in either of them.
No.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Never would have expected that from this guy.
Yeah.
Dude, what are?
Yeah.
This is going to be an issue. This is going to be a whole ordeal with Danny getting his license renewed. Like at least mine.
I guess I don't have to worry about
it.
a piece of mail saying Daniel on it.
I guess I'll put it this way. How long is his contract here? And then when should we expect the move and the disappearance?
It's renewed in June.
No, I think what we need to the big question is, when are we subpoenaed?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
Also, no, my license photo, it was a very dark period in my life. I had just torn my knee. You can
your-
only get so
Your
naked.
hair is long, you have a beard, and then you showed me military ID where you're clean shaven. Like, yeah, those are different people.
Oh no, that was probably one of the darkest points in my life. Legitimately.
Oh,
When-
really?
When that license photo was taken.
Call me daddy.
I had just shredded my knee probably 4 months before that because that was summertime, and I was miserable. I mean, I look like death. I look like a serial killer in that, which is hilarious considering the connotations. One's about me, the other's about we. Yeah, yep, 100%. But yeah, no, it's and then my conceal and carry permit says Dan.
God dang.
So
Just a that's a whole thing. You got Dan, Danny, and Daniel.
Mhm. And I've been all 3
Yeah,
throughout my
alright.
life.
Here's the situation.
I need swag to go with you to the DMV.
Hold on, everybody.
We think
It's over.
my name's Danny.
Oh man.
We think
Fart hammer.
Whoa, Danny Farthammer?
That one was just because.
it's my middle name.
That one was just because.
My mom's
All
side.
right.
I haven't heard that one for a while.
All right.
But yeah, it's interesting. I do have the same social security number across the board.
Good.
So
That's good.
I got that going for me.
Like this person says, since I was adopted at such a young age, I have 2 social security numbers. Your renewal is going to be hell.
I don't believe you.
That's gonna be very. Wait, how is that? Now I'm just confused. Yeah, that's a big one. But Go ahead, schedule your time at the DMV. It's a grand old time. If you like people watching, show up early.
I think actually I have to renew mine this summer, which I'm not looking forward to.
I may or may not.
I'm warning you all.
I'm just saying, I may or may not be writing dirty on the tags on my car right now too, because I bought it during COVID, and they never got me stuff, and they still haven't figured out the title situation.
No,
Well,
I don't doubt for a second that you're writing dirty.
Rust is coming out firing today. He is coming out firing today. All right, we've got a lot that we got to get to. We have the tournament getting underway tomorrow.
Trunk looks a little heavy.
We've got NFL pro days are going on. UW has lost their athletic director again. But where we got to start this thing, apologies need to be made. Not by Danny and not what you think. Next on The Fan. Apologies need to be made, my friend. My sincerest apology to Seton Hall Joe here in our office.
Where did he come from? Where did he go?
Where did it come from, Seton Hall Joe? Virginia is terrible at basketball.
Virginia, even.
That game,
They suck.
their offense is offensive.
Yes.
And it is, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. They lose to Colorado State. The first 4 last night.
Compelling.
I love.
Compelling.
I love the first 4. Here's how the first 4 went last night. Wagner blew a massive lead. They were by like 14 in the second half, and to Howard, and they cling to a 3-point lead. Final seconds in the final possession, Howard gets 3 attempts from 3 and miss all of them.
What about Virginia?
To tie the game, they miss all 3. And that is the most, yes, this is college basketball thing I've ever seen, is missing 3 straight 3-point attempts to force overtime, and game over, you go packing. And Wagner gets the opportunity to get their teeth kicked in the round of 64. That is followed by what could possibly be the worst offensive performance that we have seen since Virginia basketball in the NCAA tournament, as Colorado State led the Cavaliers 27-14 at halftime.
And a reminder, college basketball played in 20-minute halves.
Played in 20-minute halves. If you were wondering,
14, there were more minutes than points scored in the first half.
in the final minute and a half of the game, Virginia crossed the 40-point threshold. The previous lowest point total in an NCAA tournament game was also held by Virginia in 2017 when they scored 39 points in a game. We knew this game was going to be
They came
played in
in
a phone booth.
as one of the worst offenses in the country. Like not in major college basketball, in college basketball.
Yes.
In Division I college basketball, I think they ranked 317th in offense.
It's not good. And that got them in. They were one of the last 4 in. They were the last team in. You also have this aspect of Virginia's offense. They scored their 14th point of the game with 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half. Okay? By the way, that's how many points they had at halftime. They did not score their next basket until the 16:40 mark of the second half.
Was it 13 straight shots that were missed?
No, it was 14.
14?
Yeah. The basket that they made to get their 14th point was at 9:48, or it'd be 6:48 Pacific time.
Mhm.
They did not score again until 7:40 Eastern, or 7:40 Pacific time. That is 52 minutes of real time that they did not score a point.
Good.
Halftime is included in that.
Good God.
But if you just go by
What?
if you go by game time and how long they went,
Jesus.
yeah, how far they went in the game,
What?
that is 12 minutes and 40 seconds of basketball
That's
of game time.
That's an entire quarter.
52 minutes of real time.
And an entire quarter of NBA basketball. Imagine a team
Well,
does
if-
not in the
if-
NBA.
If you take it, if
no,
you
it's
take
12 minutes.
if you take it to college basketball, it's a 40-minute game, so
Yeah.
it's 10-minute quarters. It is more than a
I'm
quarter.
saying it's more than an NBA quarter.
Yes.
More than an NBA quarter. An NBA team scoring 0 points is what you saw. It was. They shot.
It's a quarter and a half of high school basketball.
They shot 25% from the field, 17% from 3.
And this is where I apologize to Seton Hall Joe. Seton Hall deserved to be in the tournament. After watching what Virginia put out there, boy, that was bad. That was really bad.
Look, if your best example or reasoning for why your team should be in the tournament is because the one that you just watched was that bad, do you really deserve to be in the tournament?
I think they
Yes.
do because,
Like, all apologies to Seton Hall Joe.
yeah,
but-
they would have put up a better fight and a more riveting performance.
I mean,
than
if your
what we
main
saw.
argument is we're not that bad.
Well, the thing about both those teams, Colorado State and Virginia, they're really disciplined on the defensive end. if that first like 4 minutes of the game flew by, we didn't have a stoppage of play for like 4.5 minutes of that game, which is crazy to think about. No whistles, no turnovers, no real shots made, but it was just back and forth volleying essentially by Colorado State and Virginia. I think for as bad as it was for Colorado or for Virginia, though, it's just as good for the Mountain West. Because what was the Mountain West saying?
Yeah, they got snubbed, and I mean, look at where New Mexico gets put. Look at where Boise State gets put.
A bunch of double-digit
Look where
seeds.
Colorado State gets put. I mean, very clearly, I think there's two things you can say about this. And it was like, oh, it's just one game. Yeah, I know, but we were talking about this off air with our boss, but beginning of the week. The ACC not a little overrated this year.
It's not a great conference this year.
Yeah, and I thought North Carolina should not have gotten a 1 seed. I very much believe they should not have gotten a 1 seed. And I looked at the rest of the conference because it was like they're the ACC is a great conference. Like, is it?
And that's coming from noted Duke fan Jeff Montpellier. I love Duke.
But
Your Coach K is so good.
it is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Sounds just like him. I looked over there and I was like, did he dye his hair?
Did he dye it bald?
Even 107-year-old Coach K has darker, more black hair than I do.
Blacker soul too.
Fair.
But
Although, yeah, you don't know me that well.
the Mountain West has got to
Whoa.
be sitting there going, "What the hell?"
And that was what they were fighting
Yeah.
because everybody like Seton Hall Joe, all the Big East folks that were complaining about Seton Hall or St. John's not getting in, their whole thing was, how does the Mountain West get 6 in? How do you get 6 teams in from the Mountain West when all of them are double-digit seeds except for San Diego State? And this is how.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have to have a proving ground because here's the thing about the Mountain West. Until last year when San Diego State made a run and played for a national championship, they had S the bet in the tournament.
Yes, including last year outside of San Diego State.
And as much as the tournament committee says we don't look at history, we don't look at conference tournaments,
They're
they
lying.
100% do. Because that's why Michigan State is an 8 seed. That is why North Carolina is a 1 seed. That's why Kansas, with their 2 best players hurt, is a 4 seed, for God's sakes. They 100% look at your history and what you have done in the tournament, not just on an individual team basis, but as a conference as well. That's why Virginia even gets in the dance. That's why Mountain West teams are pushed down to double-digit seeds on the at-large bids. That's the reality that we're living in. And this year in college basketball made it exponentially tougher because how drunk was this year in college hoops? Like, no dominant teams really gave a pecking order of the hierarchy of college hoops, with the exception of UConn and Houston. But even Houston, they
found a way to faceplant themselves.
Yeah, it truly was. It was UConn.
Mm-hmm.
UConn is that only team kind of standing out above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it hard to I do not envy those people in that selection committee because, granted, with Duquesne being like an 11, they're throwing darts at a dartboard.
Yeah.
The 6 seed in their own conference tournament, the Atlantic 10.
Yeah.
11 seed.
It's like, easy, guys. This isn't 1982. A10's not popping.
But my apologies to Seton Hall.
Mine are to St. John's.
You deserved that spot in. Virginia did not. And tonight, maybe we have that conversation about Colorado, too, because what do we have tonight? Colorado playing Boise State. In that game, look, Colorado is that team that everybody was squinting at, saying, hey, you lose in your conference tournament, and this has kind of been floating out. What do you think of this little – I've seen this floating around Twitter a lot. If a bid is stolen – because of a team makes a run in your conference, then your conference loses their first 4 or their last 4 in team, right? So Oregon gets in, they're a bid stealer. That means Colorado would be out.
I think that's terrible.
NC State
I don't know.
steal.
I don't know. Sounds fair to me.
NC
Win your damn
State-
tournament if
yeah.
you want to get in.
NC State steals the bid in the ACC. Virginia you're out. If you're on the bubble and a team makes a run in your tournament, but the difference is with Colorado is
Stop
that
'em.
but Colorado played for the conference championship
Yeah.
though, at least.
Like,
They at least made it to the conference championship game, which is something that, Virginia can't say.
no. And only that, a team getting hot in your conference, it doesn't reflect positively or negatively against you. It just is what it is. It's very much the definition of what is.
I did
I'm in a
not
pretzel.
have sexual relations with that woman.
Basketball
You're
relations.
better at Coach K than Bill.
My apologies. I love Duke.
And he's back.
Yeah, there he is.
And he's back.
It's great because the monitor sits where I like right in between, so I can't really see Jeff until I lean out.
So it is.
So it's just like it's just a
it's
quick.
Coach K's there.
Yeah,
he's right there.
there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like it either, but I've seen it gaining a lot of traction with folks on social media. I think that you want your best teams in. I think the tournament didn't get that this year. Virginia is
No,
the
very
clear indicator. And look, there's going to be a lot of people. If Colorado lays an egg tonight, they're going to be in that same conversation. I don't think they will, but there's going to be a lot of that talk and conversation tonight as we get Colorado, Boise State, 6:10 on True TV. The precursor, Grambling versus Montana State.
Oh, that's gonna get weird.
I
That's gonna get weird.
100%.
Two very different fan bases.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I'm not sure you can get a whole lot more diametrically opposed.
You mean the historically black college in Grambling State and Montana State?
And Montana State.
Montana State's located
Bozeman.
Bozeman.
Montana.
Where was the Unabomber hold up?
Notoriously black community
was
of
in-
Bozeman, Montana.
Wasn't it Bozeman?
I thought he was outside Missoula. Was he in Idaho?
He was on Montana.
He was in Montana?
Yeah, he was in Montana.
I think he was outside of Missoula.
That was different than Ruby Ridge, right?
Yes.
Because that's Idaho.
Yeah, no.
All right.
No.
Not
Unabomber
that there's
was,
a ton
was-
of
was-
difference there, but
They found his manifesto in a little commune of his own.
I'm going to get back to you on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was in a Montana cabin, but I will outside of Lincoln, Montana.
Lincoln, Montana.
Dude, nobody.
I got nothing.
Montana is if you're not in Missoula, Bozeman, Helena, Great Falls, or Billings,
Look, I'll throw in a
you are
Miles.
you are in the middle of nowhere.
I'll throw in a Miles City because that's like the only one on the east side of the state that like has
In
anything.
Billings. Yeah.
Okay, it's closer to Missoula,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
but it's like it's on a little highway off of Missoula. Okay. Definitely in the you know how they have the green areas for the forested regions? It's in there.
yeah, don't put that evil on Missoula or on Bozeman. Okay.
Sorry, Bozeman, I'm sorry.
He's that's Missoula.
I was trying to figure out what your I mean, he's close. It's closer to Missoula, but it's not that much further away from Bozeman. I'm just saying, the fan base. There's a type there.
All right. It's Pro Day Palooza today. Eye popping and head scratching next on the Fan. Here's Rust, Sports Center.
I love Duke.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers start a 3-game homestand tonight with the first of 2 against the Clippers. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. Malcolm Brogdon, Shaden Sharp still out. Jeremy Grant doubtful with a right hamstring strain. And Matisse Thybulle questionable due to a sore right ankle. The Blazers are 12.5-point underdogs. The first 4 indeed continues this afternoon. 3:40 tip. Grambling and Montana State facing off for the right to play number 1 seed Purdue. That's followed by Colorado and Boise State with the winner playing 7 seed Florida on Friday. Both games can be seen on True TV. The 2024 Major League Baseball season officially started early this morning in Seoul, South Korea. The Dodgers breaking up a pitcher's duel with a 4-run 8th inning to beat the Padres 5-2. Shohei Ohtani 2 for 5 with an RBI single in his Dodgers debut. The same 2 teams back at it tomorrow morning, late tonight, whatever you want to say, 3 a.m. on ESPN. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Fan Madness, presented by George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. March 21st and 22nd at the Stadium Sports Bar at Alenay. Do the tournament with 1080 The Fan.
Texting
It is Wrestling Wednesday. We are high flying. All right. Pro Day Palooza. We have a bunch of pro days today, and the NFL has got to, or in colleges, they've got to fix this. Because do you know today alone, we have pro days. USC just wrapped theirs up with Caleb Williams. Ohio State's is ongoing. and Texas has just wrapped theirs up as well.
Kind of weird to have those three on the same day.
When you have, the powerhouse programs all having their pro day on the same day, and Bama's today too.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Alabama's today too. Like, how can you go out there and properly evaluate the schools that traditionally, these 4 schools traditionally pump out the most NFL talent, yet all 4 are having their pro days today. And it should be no surprise that everybody drafting atop the NFL draft, they were at USC this morning for Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams did not disappoint. He put on a show for the Chicago Bears brass. They had their GM, head coach, team president. Hell, Keenan Allen was in attendance, decked out in Bears gear. And Caleb Williams did not disappoint. By all accounts, he was just as impressive as everybody thought he would be. Dotting guys up, showed off his arm strength, his mobility, his ability to throw the ball. And my favorite part was, did you see what he did before he actually started throwing?
No.
He warmed up left-handed. Not like short, like dumpy pass. Like, he warmed up left-handed and was like showing zip on the ball. He put on a show today.
Watch me hit this left-handed running hook for the game winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went out there and was, by all accounts, it had zip on it. It looked natural. It looked normal, throwing the ball left-handed.
Just to screw around.
Just to screw around.
Just to spice it up a little bit.
Yep.
Kind of like it.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
That's what, that kind of swagger, and then obviously putting it all together. And pro days
they're scripted and manufactured and
guys
meant to gas guys up.
Guys have had great pro days and have flopped in the draft. Zach Wilson, Jamarcus Russell. Guys have had terrible pro days
Been just fine.
and been superstars in the league. Like Andrew Luck's pro day wasn't. It wasn't like everybody's like, oh my God, Peyton Manning's was awful. Like, apparently Peyton Manning was turfing balls, and he turned out to have a pretty good career.
Decent.
He was okay.
Yeah.
Like, pro days are hit and miss, but
I know that rookie season was pretty rough, if you want to go judging it by that.
Well, yeah, they threw him to the Wolves, man. They threw him to the Wolves. But Caleb Williams and USC, they had their pro day today, and it by all accounts, it was a raving success for Caleb Williams. And if there was any doubt before, that doubt is gone. He is going to be a Chicago Bear. When I saw Keenan Allen there, I was like, yeah, okay. Any other smoke that you see is just that. It's smoke. It is Caleb Williams, even though we already knew that.
They've cleared the deck, and they've went out and they got wide receivers, and they're very clearly trying to make this a plane that's very easy to land, which good. They should. I was talking to 2 friends last night, 2 NBA scouts that are both just absolutely torrid Bears fans. And he goes, I want you to do me a favor. We were talking about bad quarterbacks between the Raiders and the Bears. And he's like, let's go through the Bears' all-time leading passers. Let's see if you can name them. It is
Sid Luckman,
Jay Cutler,
Kyle Orton.
Not on the list. He only threw
Jim
for like
McMahon.
3. McMahon's one of them.
Oh my gosh. What, is Harbaugh in there?
Yes, Harbaugh's one of them.
Harbaugh's in there.
Is there a sexy Rexy?
Yeah, Rex Grossman.
He's
Super
not
Bowl-
there because of,
Super Bowl competing
I don't realize
quarterback.
they're
if
a super long time.
there's
but
6 quarterbacks
nobody has been.
in
Okay.
Bears history who have thrown for more than 10,000 yards as Bears.
Eric Kramer.
Ding,
Eric
ding, ding,
Kramer
ding,
is
ding,
one.
ding.
Yeah.
I am the smartest man alive.
You're missing one. You've hit them all. We've hit Cutler, Luckman, Harbaugh, McMahon, Kramer. One remains. Recent. Modern era.
Like, wait, recent and modern era are
Just
two different things.
I'll give you modern era. Post 2000.
Post 2000?
Yeah. 23 years to work with.
Yeah. I can't even imagine who the quarterback of the early 2000s was there, though. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's Trubisky.
Oh, Mitch.
Yep.
Yeah, Mitch works.
Mitch threw for 10,609.
There you go. Just right there.
Yeah. So
Mitchy.
the list of illustrious
Neat.
quarterbacks, like Rex Grossman threw for 6,000 yards as a Bear starter. That's it.
Over 7 seasons.
That sounds about right for Rex Grossman.
It's like the Raiders have had it bad.
But how many yards did he hand off for?
Yeah,
Tell me that.
Probably a billion.
There we go.
But like the Raiders were bad, but there's a Plunkett, there's a Gannon, there's a Stabler.
Yeah.
Everything else is holy crap bad. But the Bears have taken quarterback ineptitude to a level that is unconscionable in modern football. It truly is. To be an organization that predates passing, to have existed that long, and to have been this bad at that position is truly. If somebody did the math on it, I would have to guess it would be 1 in the billions.
Okay, I will counter that with, can you name, and we'll go since 2000, how many receivers for the Chicago Bears have had over 4,000 yards receiving? Like, this is
Willie Galt.
because you're not going to be able to do this. Because Willie Galt, by the way, 3,650 yards receiving as a Bear.
Ooh, so close.
So close in 4 seasons.
Did Marshall do it?
No, he didn't. It's Alshon Jeffrey
I would say Alshon was probably the next one I would have gone.
and then Matt Forte.
That's it.
In their franchise's history, they've only had 7 receivers with 4,000 yards receiving. 2 of them are running backs.
Oh God, Peyton.
Walter Payton and Matt Forte. Okay. Johnny Morris is the all-time leading receiver for the Chicago Bears. 5,059 yards.
Position listed as a flanker.
Yeah. 1958 to 1967. So for as bad as people want to say, hey, the quarterback position's been atrocious, no, it's stylistically, ever since the forward pass was instituted, the Chicago Bears have not been a passing team.
They said no.
In Chicago, they call it bear weather.
It's been a group project.
Yeah. They call it bear weather. Half your games are going to be outside. Half of those are going to be cold. You have to go to Green Bay once a year.
Also,
like this is,
but that's my point.
they
Green
just
Bay.
run the damn ball.
Green Bay
Mm-hmm.
plays outside in colder weather and have had 2 quarterbacks.
They have always, but this has always been the Bears' kind of mantra. Has it
3
been
quarterbacks.
successful for them? No, it's been hit and miss. They went to a Super Bowl,
2.
even with Sexy Rexy,
Huh.
right? Like,
And they win one with a big man.
yeah, in '85, the Bears, right, where they
But-
handed the ball to Refrigerator Perry,
They-
and they had the most dynamic running back in the NFL at that time.
Bear stuff, bear stuff, bear stuff, bear stuff.
But
bear
they've always been built on defense. That's where they've always been the most successful, and it's been their identity. Now that the game has truly passed that identity by and left it in the dust, they've been a joke because for whatever reason, doesn't matter the head coach or the GM, ownership has got this. This is the Chicago way. This is the Bears way. It appears that they've gotten out of their own way now, and they're finally allowing over the last 2 years Ryan Poles to say, guys, this doesn't work. We can still keep Matt Eberflus, your defensive-minded head coach, but you can't win without offense in the NFL. You cannot
Did
do
anybody
it.
tell the Steelers?
The Steelers are going to be better offensive. Like, they're going to be better offensively than they were last year. They will.
I'll believe it when I say it.
They've upgraded the quarterback position. No matter what you think of Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, they are better than Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett.
We need to clip that
They-
just so we can send it to Mason Rudolph. next
They
year.
are those 2 guys are better than those 3 quarterbacks. Arthur Smith, for all of his faults as a head coach in Atlanta, he had top 5 offenses in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. He had Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and it was like a mismatch of receivers for a lot of his time in Tennessee, right? Like they didn't have explosive playmakers, but they were top 5 offensively. I think 2 of his 3 years that he was the OC there. Like he's not a great head coach at all. He isn't.
No.
But the Steelers, the Steelers fans and we talked about this week. Steelers fans that are thinking like Russell Wilson's going to be, you're not getting Super Bowl, you're getting incrementally better because Russ is past his prime.
They're not that bad.
They're not, but they're not good enough to
No.
win their division. and make a Super Bowl run.
And that's what the Bears are looking around at the Lions going, oh, crap, they're really good. They're looking at the Packers going, oh, crap, they have another quarterback? You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And then they're looking at the Vikings going, well, I got everything else. We better figure out something because otherwise you're just going to end up the doormat of that division for another 20 years.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And so somebody got to the ownership and said, if we don't do this, if we don't take this chance, what's going to happen? We're going to suck more?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
You haven't been good for 20 years.
No. I ask you this. Chicago's drafting 20th, right? If they go out and they get a receiver,
Pittsburgh,
or what'd I say?
Chicago.
No, they're drafting first and ninth. They're going to get a lot better.
They'll get a receiver.
If at 20th, the Chicago Bears get Brian
The
Thomas. God, why am I doing this? If the Steelers go out and they get Brian Thomas or they get, a quality receiver, Troy Franklin, Xavier Worthy, if they go
Mitchell.
out and they get a really good receiver there, are you going to sit there and be like, okay, that makes a lot more sense? Because then you'd have Pickens. Either take your pick of that receiver crop that's there.
There was a lot of
Freiermuth,
talk in
Najee
Denver
Harris.
about how they had weapons going into last season. And they sucked.
They did not believe in their quarterback at that time.
I don't think they believe in their quarterback in Pittsburgh. I just think they maybe believe in him a little bit less than they believed in the guy who was in there before him because he sucked even more.
And I'm going to reserve that judgment because I want to see how much more humble pie Russell Wilson's eaten this year. Because the Nathaniel Hackett year, you can't come back from in Denver.
No.
Can
your own private office on the second floor you aren't coming
can
back from.
an established head coach who has set a culture in Mike Tomlin
I'm thinking Chicago, never mind.
Can the established head coach who has a culture, who has a winning record, who has an identity of players that he brings in,
Who can tell Russ to go to hell?
and can tell everybody else to get in line?
Yeah.
Mr. Unlimited.
Ugh.
Mike Tomlin would punt him across
can-
the room.
Can Mike Tomlin be what Nathaniel Hackett was never,
Yeah.
and Sean Payton didn't
That's
want
fair.
to be?
That part's fair.
That's the
fair.
part that I'm interested in. Is he a top 10 quarterback? No. No, he's not. All right. Pro days today, though. Dynamic. And there's one guy who's just saying no to all of it. Next on The Fan.
It's twice the madness.
Harrison is not doing anything to improve his draft stock because I don't think he feels that he has any improvements to make.
I do not understand this.
He did not participate in the combine, didn't even do medicals
Interviews,
or interviews.
nothing. Just
Nothing. He did not participate in Ohio State's pro day today. Will not have his own pro day later. This is like uncharted territory that he's
What
in.
would you say you do here?
It truly is. It's bizarre, but at the same time, it hasn't necessarily hurt the way that people think of him. But what we're seeing is that other people have improved their own draft stock.
Yeah, there's multiple analysts that have Rome Odunze as the number one wide receiver on their board, according to sources in the NFL. Multiple GMs, front offices that are looking because look,
Was it Daniel Jeremiah who had that?
yes, him, I believe Albright and a couple others also had notes that Odunze was.
And I've long said, like all season long last year, I was going, dude, Dunze is just as good.
Yeah, he's a monster, but he doesn't come with the BS. I've taken to comparing Odunze to Mike Evans, a 10-year monster wide receiver with size, speed, high point ability, big play ability, who just shuts up and catches balls. Like he's the epitome of what you want. He's not a diva wide receiver.
If I'm building a team, I want
100%. That's
I
the guy that
Dunze.
I want 6'5" red zone threat that can also run underneath, that can run deep routes, that can take a hitch and go, and just isn't a problem because so many wide receivers are a bleeping problem.
Will this be something that negatively impacts Marvin Harrison moving forward? 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. We start hour number 2 there, and then we need to get into what's going on up north. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Number 2, he's just opting out of everything and just saying, "You've seen my film, draft me." Is this something that is going to negatively impact Marvin Harrison Jr.?
There's something that you and I have talked about a little bit. Well, not in general, or not specifically, but in general about fit. Does the idea of like Caleb Williams originally saying, putting it out there, I don't want to go to Chicago. I think there's some credence to the Bears doing what they did and laying the groundwork for Caleb Williams so that he did hit the ground running, so he wasn't Justin Fields or Bryce Young. I think that was intentional. I genuinely do. And I wonder if Marvin Harrison Jr. is like, I don't want to go to New England. I do not want to go to Washington. I do not want to go to Arizona.
I think Arizona's going to take him.
I think so too.
And Arizona takes him. That terrifies me organizationally.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., just the mental makeup of those two guys.
Yeah.
Which I think if you pair Kyler Murray with a Roma Dunze, then
you can't break that spirit.
It works a little bit better. It works a little bit better because you don't have the two clashing egos, or what we saw in Brooklyn with the Nets, for God's sakes. You get too much crazy in a room, you don't want that. If you get too much ego in the room, then all of a sudden you have the butting of heads. This is going to be really fascinating to see the manipulation that Marvin Harrison Jr. has, because he has to be talking to NFL teams. And there could very well be exactly what you're saying, that manipulation of him saying, I don't want to go to any of these franchises, so I'm going to work myself to where I want to go. Whether that is he wants to end up in L.A. with the Chargers, having Justin Herbert, having a Jim Harbaugh offense where you're going to get shots downfield, they're going to drive
get competency as your head coach.
100%. And I could see that happening. But also you have his dad. His dad is feeding him a lot because he was a pro for so long.
He knows what organizations are and what front offices and what ownership groups, and his dad, who will forever remain nameless for various reasons. It's just Marvin Harrison Jr.'s dad.
Yes, Senior. Mr. Senior.
Yep.
That is, I could see that being part of their end game, because
there's a plan here because they're not dumb.
How different is Marvin Harrison's career if he doesn't have Peyton Manning as his quarterback?
Very. You could say that about every wide receiver. Is Jerry Rice without Joe Montana and Steve Young? No. I mean, is he still great? Yes. But if he does not have two Hall of Fame quarterbacks throwing him the ball? No.
In system. Yeah. System fits too. That's really interesting. Elsewhere in college sports, UW's on another AD. This was a bit of a shock to most this morning when we woke up to the news of Troy Dannen, the athletic director at Washington, which any Duck fans that went up for that game in October against UW in Seattle, that was the game that Troy Dannen was introduced as the new athletic director at the University of Washington. It was quite the game for them to introduce their new AD. But Dannen was introduced coming from Tulane up to UW, and here we are 5 months later. He has left the post as AD at UW and has taken the same job at Nebraska because Trev Alberts just bolted for Texas A&M. That job was open, and it's an interesting move based on the fact that, is Nebraska a better job as an athletic director than University of Washington?
No. I no.
I don't think so either.
I mean, historically, they're kind of at least on par.
But there's
currently no.
There's currently basketball's in the NCAA tournament where you have Troy Dannen just fired Mike Hopkins.
Yes.
You had the head coach at the University of Washington, who, by all accounts in reports, lobbied for Troy Dannen because they had a connection with one another. You had him depart and leave for Alabama, and he goes and he hires Jedd Fisch, and now Jedd Fisch has got to be looking around like, what the hell?
The guy that just hired me is gone.
Is gone already
because because the guy who hires you is kind of like a shield. It's your guy. You have some level of protection because when a new AD comes in, you're not his guy, and so if things start to go squirrely, the first thing it's going to go is you.
Yeah. And this is like the interesting part that you're also hearing now. 5 months after Troy Danon took the job at UW, there's reports out now that his family didn't even move up to Seattle.
From Tulane.
They never moved. They kept kind of pushing things back, like, oh, kids' school, we want to wait to the end of the semester or whatever, all of that stuff. They never ended up moving up to Seattle, but it's expected that they are going to be moving to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Don't be suspicious.
As he takes over.
Don't be suspicious.
And that you sit there and you go, what are the underlying factors?
Mhm.
He was not a West Coast guy.
Mhm.
And especially when you're coming from, the South.
Yep.
At Tulane
Where
or
he
the
hired-
Midwest.
Where he hired Willie Fritz.
He's a Midwest and Tulane guy, right? Though that's where his background was. He comes out West. It's a different animal.
Oh,
and even when you have the alumni base that UW has, and there's a passion to win at the University of Washington, but it's been long said, and I think Jen Cohen, and I think this is why she'll do really good at USC, was when she left UW to go down to USC, she had to deal with a lot of cooks in the kitchen up there.
Mhm.
And when you have a lot of big swinging you-know-whats, it's hard to manage all of those egos in the directions that people want to go, especially when you come from a Tulane where it's not that.
No.
You really have the Benson family, and the expectations aren't as high. And then you come out to the West Coast where everything is new. The donor base is completely different.
And the conference is
The
falling
egos.
apart around you.
Yeah, but you're
They
in
had
the
the
Big
net-
Ten, but you had the safety net.
Yes.
You had the safety
But
net.
you still had a lot of different things, a lot of changes that you had to navigate where Nebraska, you don't.
This is a big hire for UW, and as Joel S. says on the YouTube chat, he says, bring in someone who bleeds purple and gold and is already in the building. My vote is for Damon Heward. Word is he wants the job also. I don't think that's a slippery slope. See what USC did.
I've been down that path before. You don't want that.
You need somebody, and Damon Heward he's been on the administrative side at UW for quite some time.
If he wants to be a part of it, fine. He can't be the guy.
He has got, and you've got to have somebody that is groomed to take over the AD job, because being an athletic director, there is so much, incompetence is paramount. And that's why they went with a guy like Troy Danon, who he made a bunch of competent hires at Tulane. Like he is a guy that the foresight to hire the right people, put them in right places and succeed. That is so important. And like this was University of Oregon, you know this, Pat Kilkenny, Mike Bellotti. All of a sudden they brought in Rob Mullins, and there was a steadying over all of the sports at the University of Oregon because you had a career athletic director. We talk about this all the time with football coaches and basketball coaches, in that you have to be the CEO.
Yep.
You have to be the damn president. And you have got, you are running a country.
Yes.
And you have got to make sure everybody around you is pulling in the
It'd be
same
like
direction.
if Joey Harrington became the AD. It's not a shot at Joey. It's just that's not what you want.
But Damon has been working on the administration side.
Sure.
So
but
there's
there's
a little bit different.
But I'm saying, like, just because you're familiar with them and he gets you, having that person as somebody that AD can go to is good. It's great. You want that even.
I think that what you need to be looking for is somebody who understands the West Coast.
Yes.
And then you can go with, if they understand the administrative side in running an athletic department, what it takes to run an athletic department in 2024, which is a different world. And that may be part of the reasons, why UW wasn't a fit for Danon, because NIL, you have to be able to have your hooks into that and make sure that is operating efficiently and within the rules, and have sustainability as well. Because that's the hard part with collectives and the NIL is, how do you make this thing sustainable for the future?
Yeah.
And that's like the most important part about your athletic department now is, do you have the fundraising apparatus to continue to have a sustainable NIL department? And if Damon Heward can be that guy, go ahead, UW. Get that guy. I say you don't need that person that bleeds purple and gold, but one that understands the university, the region, and how to operate administration-wise in this era of college sports because it's a changing landscape, man. It's a
It is.
vastly different
We talk about the
landscape.
coaches and how different they have to be. The same is true on the AD side.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
And I know a lot of Duck and Cougs fans are taking their victory laps on this one. I hope they get it right because you get that AD hire right, and that's good for the West Coast. And you better, if you're Oregon, you feel real comfortable with Rob Mullins, the direction of your football and basketball programs, and the sustainability there. But you want to have that competitiveness on the West Coast. You need it on the West Coast. It's good. It's good for it. Take a victory lap, so.
Have your fun.
Watching it's never a bad thing to watch your rival squirm for a little bit.
No, not at all.
Not one
The good stuff.
little. It's what rivalries are all about.
Bask in it. Roll around like a little pig and slop. It's fun. I have no issues with that.
All right. 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Hey, we were just talking about the Cougs taking a victory lap. How about that? A little good news for them.
There you go.
Next on the Fan. Be with us. We're going to be at A, the Stadium Sports Bar, up at A tomorrow and Friday, folks. It's Fan Madness, and it's brought to you by our great friends, George McCoy at Warren Allen, Attorneys at Law. You got the Stadium Sports Bar. You got the A Sportsbook that is adjacent to it. You've got TVs galore. You've got, we're going to have a half-hour show tomorrow, which we're going to turn into an Oregon-South Carolina watch party after that.
Yes.
And then Isaac and Suk are going to pick up right when they get done, but that game gets done. And then we're going to be on 3 hours, Friday, noon to 3. Isaac and Suk, 3 to 7. 7 hours of Fan Madness on Friday.
Basketball.
7 hours on Thursday. Let's friggin' go. If you want more information, go to Fan Madness, go to 1080thefan.com. It's brought to you by George McCoy at Warren Allen, Attorneys at Law. Injuries and missing work ruining your day. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com. He'll make them pay. It's going to be a great day tomorrow and a great day on Friday. So let's all get caught up in the madness. We got some good news for the Beavs and the Cougs. Last week, everybody cringed at the sight of the rumored $360,000 as the payout for Oregon State and Washington State in the new and improved college football playoff. Kirk Schultz being on the college football playoff committee, board of directors, seems to be helping. It seems like he just sat there and went, more, 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 more. Because Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, the first to report, in the new agreement, $3.6 million. That's, you go from $360,000 to $3.6 million. That's a lot better lot in life.
1,000% increase is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care what you're doing, but yeah, 10 times what you
times
originally
10.
10 times. That's yeah.
I just imagine
That's
like
good.
everybody going around and throwing out a number, and Kirk Schultz just going more.
I was thinking Bugs Bunny as the orchestra director, waving his hand, just more.
I was going to remember, what was it, Brett Kavanaugh's Senate hearing for the Supreme Court, where they were asking him how many beers he drank. He was like, more, more. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
You know, like that seems to be how that went.
Is that from the book of Andre the Giant and Wade Boggs?
Yes.
Or he was just sitting there.
No. Strong no. Like, yeah, no.
Like, yeah, no.
We're not taking
That's the
360.
best part of it is the end of that. Like,
Yeah.
no.
But that's a good pay bump. Are you still getting lapped by everybody else?
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's a significant bump.
It gives you a lot better footing. And then the news out of the SEC today
Yeah.
that they're going to keep the 8-game conference schedule. It actually benefits Oregon State and Washington State for the 2025 season
Indeed.
as it pertains to their scheduling.
Because their conference is still alive. Technically, the Pac-12 is not dissolved yet. Even though it doesn't exist other than anything but name, they are still a qualifier as a non-conference game for the SEC scheduling purposes.
a power conference.
A power
still.
conference, which means there's a pretty strong likelihood that the SEC is going to make some phone calls to old Oregon State and Washington State, which is going to put some money in their coffers because they kind of have them over their knee.
I like that for Oregon State and Washington State
Mm-hmm.
because the scheduling aspect of trying to find games when all of these schedules are made 10 years out. We saw the jockeying that needed to happen this year where, you know, Oregon and Boise State, they flipped a game so you could have that. You saw Texas Tech is now going to play Washington State this year. Because Oregon didn't have room for them on their schedule any longer because they wanted to get the Beavs on there. So you saw a lot of manipulating of these agreements that are made so far out, it's ridiculous. And I think that that's the one thing that the college football playoff truly missed in the new college football playoff is uniform scheduling, because it's ridiculous that the SEC is only playing an 8-game schedule.
It's dumb.
When they have 16 teams in their conference with the additions of Oklahoma and Texas. Rust had this stat during the break. What was it? 15 years that Texas A&M is going to be in the SEC.
The 2026 season will mark the Texas A&M's 15th season where, here it is. They will 15th season without ever hosting Georgia or playing at Kentucky for 15 years.
That seems impossible.
in a conference.
There's 16 teams in the conference. How has that not happened?
Because you have an 8-game conference schedule.
So dumb.
Yeah. And that's every 2 years you have your scheduling cycle, so you could do home and away, and then that's the way they roll it out. So if you're it's mind-blowing that this happens, but it's a protection that the SEC puts into their scheduling. And I think
mind-boggling, isn't it?
It makes zero sense that no pressure has been put on the SEC to bump that up. Play 9 conference games. When your conference gets that big, it should be mandatory. But if you're Oregon State or Washington State, this is a bone thrown to you. Here are 5 SEC teams that have a non-conference opening in 2025. Auburn, LSU, South Carolina, Texas, Vanderbilt. Those 5. They have an opening in their non-conference. So those are the teams that.
This is how you get in and you take Vandy out.
Just go and beat them.
No, I mean you beat them for the spot in the SEC.
you play for pink slips.
Yes.
Like you just
Family.
say, we're gonna play this. We'll come to you.
Vin
we'll
Diesel
play
out
this.
there doing the coin toss.
Yeah. Yes. Hologram Paul Walker's brother too.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Nobody
face
knows
it.
the difference.
Let's face it. There's a college football conference that is likely to name one of their events "Race Wars." It is the SEC.
Wow.
Our southern listeners can file your complaints at
Wow.
Hey,
the Rust 503 on Twitter.
but is it wrong?
Good Lord.
That one hit hard.
That's a deep cut for the
I
Fast and Furious fans.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. No.
Jeff Russ came out swinging segment 1, and he has not put
No.
his sword down.
No.
Like he,
5 for 5 today, baby.
oh boy.
Just slam a lamb a ding dong up here.
Jeez
Start calling you
Louise.
Albert Pujols.
That is.
Goodness.
My goodness.
Love to see it.
Yeah, he sat on a bee over there.
Right? All right.
I don't know. I got fired up by my kid last night too.
Get that bug out my toy!
Play that again.
Get that bug out my toy!
That's your kid?
That's my kid. That's my
Get-
lovely 7-year-old, my
that-
first grader.
Get that GD bug off my toy?
Where could you have possibly heard that before?
I don't know.
Get that bug out my toy!
Children, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Wow.
Fantastic stuff. All right. Coming up next, it's time for our worst day on the web. And I either have something that's just horrifying or the best Mad Lib ever. I'm just going to make the decision. But first, it's Big Kahuna, the Sports Center update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers start a 3-game homestand tonight with the first of 2 against the Los Angeles Clippers. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. Malcolm Brogdon, Shaden Sharp still out. Jeremy Grant doubtful with a right hamstring strain. Matisse Thybulle, Anthony Simons, Ashton Higgins are questionable. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. The Pistons announced rookie swingman Ausar Thompson will miss the rest of the season due to a blood clot in college hoops. The first 4 continues this afternoon. 3:40 tip. Grambling and Montana State face off for the right to play number 1 seed Purdue. That's followed by Colorado and Boise State, with the winner playing playing 7 seed Florida on Friday. Both games can be seen on True TV. And the 2024 Major League Baseball season officially started early this morning in Seoul, South Korea. Dodgers breaking up a pitcher's duel with a 4-run 8th inning en route to a 5-2 win over the Padres. Shohei Ohtani 2 for 5 with an RBI single in his Dodgers debut. The same 2 teams back at it tomorrow morning, 3 a.m. on ESPN. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Fan Madness Part 2, presented by George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. March 27th and 28th at X Golf Vancouver and X Golf Tualatin. More info at 1080thefan.com. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
That sucks.
The endless stupidity of this planet never ceases to amaze. It's truly, it is the gift that keeps on giving.
I'm watching right now a video of a guy getting attacked by a goose.
That's absolutely hilarious because I have that also going on my feed, and I can't not stare at it.
Geese are the a-holes of the air and land.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean, they truly are a nuisance.
Yeah, no, you can... I think I've mentioned this before. both my previous dogs were bird dogs, duck hunters, the Nova Scotian duck tolling retrievers.
Oh.
They look like foxes on steroids, and because of that, ducks will come up and taunt them because ducks are also a-holes. Waterfowl in general, a-holes. But then they'll go out and the dogs will go in the water and break their necks because foxes. Well, long story short. Anyways, you have to worry about geese, quote unquote, breaking your dogs. And actually, one of my dogs was broke by a goose. When he was a pup, shot a goose down. He went over to try to go get it. It was still alive. It like pecked his face over and over and over, slapped him, punched him, kind of a thing. And my pup just got scared.
He was out.
This sounds like a bunch of euphemisms laced together.
Right?
It does.
But
It does.
my second pup, he had the same thing happen. And instead of running away, he took like 10 steps backwards and sprinted at him, lowered his head, and gave him the Derrick Henry treatment.
The bitness.
Just ran him over and knocked the goose basically stupid. But yeah, geese are a-holes.
Geese on golf courses are a problem. Like, they get a little bit territorial. They start honking at you. Better not.
You have a golf
better
club.
not.
Why are you?
Well, and how are they so loud when they're flying overhead?
There's a lot of them going over our house.
Well, not only
right
that,
now.
there's a lot of neck.
Yeah.
They're loud.
Yeah.
Like I can hear it inside the house when they're flying over. They're loud.
And they drop missiles, man. They're, I mean,
Oh,
they come down with authority.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Bombing
I
neighborhoods.
mean, think about it. Think about it.
Right when you wash your car, too.
When you're making a noise and you're a little kid and you grab the paper towel dispenser and it's louder. Same thing like a gooseneck.
Yeah, that's what they
Aw.
do. That's what they do, my dude.
Paper towel dispenser.
It's brutal.
Which is good. That's what geese are good for.
Paper towel dispensers?
When they're dead.
Wow. Jeez, that took a twist.
Eh.
Actually, an expected twist.
I was gonna say, what's funny is we always react with like a surprise here.
Yeah.
We should just be used to this by now.
Look,
That's how he wants you.
Look, one time we went duck hunting and we were like, hey, we didn't get our geese limit. And a friend of ours had property out in North Plains. And he's like, man, I've got too many geese. They are eating up my corn.
You can shoot those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were protected.
No. There's certain birds that are protected.
Golly, just
But no, there's a lot of them aren't. And we literally, there was about a 30-foot shed before you went out to the farmland. And we all lined up, made sure everybody had, proper barrel discipline. Like, all right, on 3. And we went out there, just slowly rolled out like a firing squad and emptied our shotguns.
Here's the situation.
This is the most Danny story I've ever heard.
And
we went out in this line of death
It's over.
and just started plucking off these geese,
Yeah,
man.
that's exactly what happened. We got our limit of geese in about 40 seconds because there was about 500 geese out there.
It doesn't
Holy
seem fair.
crap. It wasn't.
Doesn't seem like a fair fight.
No, 3.5-inch triple BB out of a Benelli
man.
shotgun. It goes pretty quick on the old semi-auto.
See, now they're getting wise though, and they're going in attacking people. And this looks like a business, like a
College professor type.
That's yeah. It's
Yeah.
he got him good.
I'm going to say the very low T vibes.
I would, yeah. You just gotta fling that bag he had.
The bird you got to be
in
the back end.
Ooh, you gotta get that satchel swing.
The bird you got to be afraid of is the pelican.
Can't say I've had any run-ins
Ooh.
with pelicans.
Pelicans are big. They're huge,
Yeah.
and they walk around like they own the place.
Well,
They
because they
kind
probably
of
do.
They probably
Yeah.
kind of do.
Yeah.
All right, on to our worst day on the web.
Okay.
Woman loses hand after freak accident with hairdryer.
This is something.
I'm sorry, what now?
Yeah. A South Carolina woman lost her hand after a freak accident with a hairdryer left her with severe burns.
Damn alligator bit my hand off.
Right? Same vibes, except dumber. Mary Wilson was drying her hair in her bathroom before bedtime last month when she suddenly passed out, and the hairdryer was still running and scorched her hand as she laid on top of it.
Why did she lay on top of it?
Well, no, I feel like we also might be glazing over something here. Suddenly passed out.
Yeah, I would imagine she lock her legs.
Like what happened? You're just drying your hair. What made you pass out?
Well, we've been over this.
Yeah,
we've been
you're
over
right.
this.
You
My
have
daughter,
experience with
my
this.
daughter has. There's a condition where some people, if they're getting their hair done and their head is bent in a particular way, they will
lights out,
pass out, and just.
I did forget about that.
They're like fainting goats.
My apologies, Ev.
Yeah.
I'm a jerk.
my daughter's a fainting goat. Like she now has to sit down to have her hair done because this has happened twice where she just goes lights out, boom. It's terrifying. But the
As a
fact
parent,
that
yes,
the
of course,
hair dryer just went boom.
That women have off
That's
switches
crazy.
in their head is kind of weird.
Yeah, I think men do too. It's just we've wisened up and cut the hair so short. Like we're not put in that situation. This is another reason why the man bun should go away. You could fall victim to this hairdryer accident. This is a freak accident. But just this past weekend, I was walking into our bedroom and I saw like this flash come in a big pop. My wife was curling her hair and her curling iron just had like this boom. And I had no idea what had happened. It scared the S out of me, more so my wife, because though I don't know what happened. Like it wasn't like we tripped a breaker or anything. Like nothing happened. It was just the curling iron went boom. Big spark, big flash, curling iron dead. It takes a lot.
Oh, yeah, no. Heating elements take a ton.
I am not that nightmare fuel.
I have had
hair dryer.
The flat iron is the one in my house where I look at my wife and I go, "You done using that? I don't want it plugged in. Like if it's not, I don't want it anywhere near an outlet because those things are evil."
Losing your hand in a hair drying accident.
Yeah, so her partner found her lying on the floor.
Beats the crap out of your old Uncle Spud, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, no. By the way, Uncle Spud, Jeff Russ' uncle that was not an uncle, he lost 2 digits closing a washing machine.
More.
What?
Or more.
He lost 3?
I think by the time he had died, he was down to 3 digits on each hand.
And you called him Uncle Spud, not Uncle Crabman.
Yeah, or the claw.
Did he at least have thumbs and index fingers?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thumbs, yes, and at least 1 index finger.
I'm smushing.
I have a hard time remembering which fingers on each hand were
Okay,
missing.
how many fingers do you need to lose before you are at a point where you're like, no more?
Like
this ain't happened to me again. I've been down this road before.
I feel like one hand he was missing the ring finger and pinky, but the other I can't remember which 2. I think it was a pinky and another one. Like I said, I was 16 when he died. It was a long time ago.
That man is the guy you call though if you have something in a hard to reach spot because he can
reach back there.
He can get his hands in there and he's gonna clamp that little thing down. It's like, oh, can't reach it. It's too far back there. Like, call Uncle Spud. He's gonna come over. He's gonna grab that thing right out of there.
He got them pinchers.
Jeez Louise.
Does he give you great advice on how to play
just
the
thinking,
claw?
Dude, I'm telling
arcade
you,
games.
I'm thinking like
no,
this
seriously, you gotta
in
make
my
sure you grab
mind,
it this way.
Uncle Spud had like on his left hand the one that is his offhand.
And he's got a built-in shocker
He's
on the
got
other.
thumb and he's got middle finger and index finger. And then on the other one, I think he lost his middle finger. And I'm going with that on his right hand because he's down a middle finger and a pinky because he flipped one guy off at a bar one night and it got ripped off.
And
by
he lived
a biker.
to be like 96, consuming no less than like a dozen eggs per day.
That's because he
in
needed
various forms.
How many bottles of Old Crow per day?
He needed less blood. That's why. The digits. That was
This
the
man,
issue.
this man does not seem like he is drinking
He was a treasure.
anything that is above the waist level at the liquor store. He was not a top shelf man.
Yeah, no, he was probably fairly frugal, yes.
Yeah, a little plastic bottle action.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not scared.
Oh, I don't even know what drop that was, but it
I don't
fit right
look.
there.
That wasn't me. I didn't.
That's the ghost of Uncle Spud saying, "I'm not scared."
I don't know what that
He's
was.
not scared of the bottom shelf.
That literally just fired off when I turned off my microphone. I touched nothing else. I
That's
don't
the
know where
ghost
that
of
came
Uncle
from.
Spud saying, "You shut up about me, and my digits, boys."
I'm not scared.
That's bananas.
I'm never
dude.
scared. Back to the old lady, not old lady, 23-year-old lady who burned her hand off.
Okay.
She laid on the floor for about 20 minutes with a hairdryer running. How do you not wake up with a hairdryer cooking your hand? The smell of like burnt skin isn't waking you up?
20 minutes is longer than the hair pass out thing. That it's way longer.
Yeah.
Like that you're
That's a long
talking like
time.
like 10 seconds to like a minute at most that you're out with that. This is screaming more of I don't know, like chemically induced, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you don't
Yeah.
pass out for 20 minutes just on your own unless she just has like
she's got a
grand mal
pretty
seizures.
good view on it. She said, "I'm still going to live my life to the fullest. It's just a hand. What is this? 10% of my body. Losing my hand may be something that changes who I am, but that doesn't mean it has to define me on everything."
I like that.
And she's also now looking forward to getting a prosthetic hand.
Ooh, yeah. So
You
there
know,
you go.
we don't
What do you
have-
do? Do you do the hook? Do you like
That's
the
the
hook?
thing is-
Do you do the
I
hook?
don't.
We
I
don't
would
see
go
enough
hook.
hooks anymore.
Do you do the little grappler claw
Yeah,
like Uncle
that's-
Spud might
that's what I
have with
mean.
his middle and with his index and middle finger?
I was watching a movie the other day.
You have formal and casual hands.
Or do we just go plain old like Chubbs?
Harrison Ford, The Fugitive.
Yeah. I was watching a movie the other day, and I can't remember what it was. Someone came on in the background, and I saw the old rubber hand with the hook, with the grappler. And I was like, I remember seeing those, like, not commonly, but like when I did see something like that, it was that one. I haven't seen that in the wild in forever. Like, is there a
Yeah,
change?
because the World War II vets are dying off.
Well, I mean, just put people, like, I've seen people with like missing appendages. Like, I
Yeah.
have friends that have lost,
Yeah,
but I
but
don't see that anymore.
because we're giving them something better.
Is that
than,
what it is?
Than something
Have
that,
we advanced past the?
I think we have.
Like, the only thing that grappler was really good for was like it would open wide enough to accept mail.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was really all it was good for.
I would
a
like
key-
to
or a
think
key-
we have.
A key to open a door.
See, what I'm curious about has anybody ever done, missing a hand, what have you, and rather than the hook or the claw or whatever, gone and surgically had implanted on their arm the old toy like shark grabber thing?
Oh, I don't think surgically. But
Grafting, that's difficult.
See, you have that. You have your casual, you have your formal, and then you have your gag.
Your gag hand.
I mean,
I will say-
but to answer your question, Jeff, no.
On this front, on the
Like,
advancement front,
not one ever.
No,
Not
those-
one ever.
In my experiences with those as a kid, they break in a day.
Yeah.
So no.
you get a lifetime supply from Amazon.
No.
In all
no.
seriousness, there is a place here, actually in Portland.
Sorry, in all seriousness, we left that phrase behind in this show
I'm
like
just- I'm just
yesterday.
saying. In all seriousness, there is a place here in Portland as like the foremost advanced place for amputated hands.
Yeah.
And you spend 8 weeks going through intensive training where they bond it to your nervous system, so it works through your brain, like like your actual hand.
Right. So we can't do that with one little shark grabbers?
Just a titanium one.
No.
I mean, with today's technology,
No. No.
We have the ability to give you back basically your hand.
Can we get somebody
no,
on
no.
this?
I want the shark hand. Can you just make it indestructible? It's like Jaws from James Bond, but on your hand.
It's freaking sharks
Like-
with freaking lasers out shooting out of their eyes.
I don't want to put this out there, but like no. Rust. Like, there's a part of me now that's like, you know what? Let's put Jeff Rust one-handed and see if he goes. Sure, actually, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
you are going to go. Sure.
What if we went shotgun?
God
hand?
darn right I would.
Go full circle here with the geese. Go shotgun hand.
No.
No.
No. Again, no.
No?
Nobody's looking to murder people on a daily basis.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
just
know,
the fake walking stick. Like a, like
The
a
cap
John,
opens
like a
up.
John Wick type weapon.
Yeah,
you know
there you
what I
go.
mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like where you're going here. All right. So yeah, lady burned her hand off with a hairdryer.
A cane is pretty cool though. Like if you
The rifle cane?
if you need a cane, well, just like any cool cane.
Oh,
Like when you see a dude with a cool cane, you're like that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the rifle cane.
He's got
And they
something
had that
going
little
on.
sight pop up,
Like I don't think you need that.
little trigger on the
I
handle.
think no, we don't need that for you.
No?
Mm-mm.
The Tacticane.
See, the thing is, he actually lives in the John Wick universe.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, there was an NFL signing that was actually a pretty big deal that happened yesterday. We'll dive into that and more. Coming over in Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. Relatively big news in the NFL yesterday as the New York Jets just swing right in and pick up Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver who was released due to, financial constraints, Mike Williams. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is out there healthy and ready to go on day one, he's got Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams to throw to.
It's not bad. It's not a bad receiving core to start with. But again, with Mike Williams, this also comes down to if he's healthy too.
Indeed.
If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, that's one thing. But Mike Williams is another guy that we've seen injury bug biting. He's a big body target, though. Now you have an offense and targets that make sense, right? You have Garrett Wilson, who you could stretch the field with. You got the big body receiver in Mike Williams. But then you have the safety blankets that Aaron Rodgers brought in, like Alan Lazard, his guys that he are his little go-tos. This Jets team is fascinating because I also like what they did. The first wave of free agents, those are the ones that they catch that attention, right? What the Jets are doing is high risk, high reward, though. Tyron Smith at left tackle. Mm-hmm. You have a 33-year-old left tackle who he has missed a lot of football over the last couple of years. Actually, the last 3 seasons. I think he's missed 37 games.
But when he's on the field,
he is one of the best tackles in football.
Absolute monster.
You have Mike Williams, who is the high reward if he can stay healthy and stay out on the field. In the AFC East, it's going to be a lot harder when you have to go to New England, you have to go to Buffalo, and playing games in New York outdoors late in the year. If you can't stay healthy and you have, those tissue injuries, right? You got hamstring problems, which both these guys have had. It gets cold, that tightens up. We'll see how long both these guys last for. And Aaron Rodgers, for God's sakes. Like, we're just sitting there like, hey, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
They ruptured their Achilles, for God's sakes. So there is high reward in both of those signings for the Jets, and Mike Williams can be a game changer for them. It is, can the Jets not get in their own way, and can they stay healthy? Like that, get out of their own way, and can they stay healthy? Like that is, are the Jets going to jet, and can they stay healthy? And that is the most fascinating part about really the entire AFC East when you look at it. Because Buffalo and Miami have both had to kind of rework who they are because of their contracts. And, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde now gone out of Buffalo. Poyer now down in Miami. Miami had a mass exodus because of, the cap they were up against it.
The who's most important to them Olympics, essentially.
But both of those teams were like, if they get out of their own way, they were Super Bowl contenders a year ago. The Jets are now in that same conversation. In this AFC East, it's going to be – I have no idea what's going to happen in the AFC East because you had both Buffalo and Miami taking a step back. I think that Buffalo taking a significantly less step backwards than Miami. But they are not the same teams that they were a year ago, where we were looking at both of those as teams that could both make deep playoff runs. And look, Miami could have done it if they didn't screw up and get bit by the injury bug in the middle of the year and had to go play negative 23-degree weather at Arrowhead, right? Because that game was just, there's no way Miami was ever going to win that game. No. And they ended up getting rolled in it. That, you take all of the teams, and the Patriots are going to be terrible this year.
Indeed.
But you have 3 teams that you sit there and you go, if they can put it together, all 3 of them have quarterbacks. All 3 of them have weapons offensively. Can they hang in there injury-wise, and what do their defenses all look like with the mass exodus in Miami and Buffalo on that side of the ball? If those teams can hold it together, all 3 of them, AFC East is going to be fun as hell.
Yeah, it is. And with the Jets, they're built for this year. That's what they're built for.
Yep.
And it's Mike Williams signed a 1-year deal, $15 million with upwards of $20 million in incentives. The Jets are this year or bust, which. Yep.
Well, Javon Kinlaw also coming in on the defensive side of the ball. They had money that they could spend there. You're already good with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed at corner. Like they have the framework to be a contending team.
Yes, and that's the thing is I applaud when teams go, well, it's now or never. So let's just go. There's that opportunity there. There is the easy way to put this is gambling is taking over sports. Is it? what place does gambling have not only in our society but in sports, and how it pertains to relationships with athletes? We'll get into that with Tyrese Halliburton coming up here next on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. On a Wednesday afternoon, we appreciate you. We love you, whether you listen on 1080 AM, watch it along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080 The Fan. We love you. We appreciate you and everything that you do. So much so, we like to, we like to give back. We're a show for the people, especially if you're people who like Def Leppard and Journey.
Woo-hoo!
They are coming to Moda Center September 2nd.
Okay.
Moda Center. Def Leppard, Journey. If you want to be in the audience, you can enter now by texting in DEF. That's DEF to 503-864-6326 to enter for your chance to win tickets to see Def Leppard and Journey on September 2nd at Moda Center.
Def Leppard, Journey,
Dun,
one
dun,
night
dun,
only.
dun.
Look, if you don't like Def Leppard and Journey, then you just don't like stuff.
I will
He said
say,
it.
Yeah.
He said it. Pour some sugar on me, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
go. Look, think of the bangers that you're going to have that night.
Don't stop believing.
Don't Stop Believing. When the lights go out in the city.
Yeah.
You've got
Open Arms. Yeah.
it's going to be, that's one of those concerts that you go to and the next day you show up and you're like, have no voice anywhere. You're like,
Yeah.
where were you at?
Well,
I
you
was
know
just
what?
Singing.
When you go to a concert like that, you know
Hysteria.
what you like? You like to take home a little bit of a memento, perhaps a
Photograph? You animal.
Mm.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
You see what I did
It's
there?
a whole hysteria.
Yeah. Armageddon it.
I hate you both. I hate you both.
Would you say that when love and hate collide, that's where you're at right now?
Yes. And if you're interested in more of
Dan is
this,
kind of always there.
you can go to 1080thefan.com
We're going to bring on the heartbreak.
for all the rules and info.
I guess that one's
man.
bringing on the heartbreak, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I can't stop because otherwise it's God. Who's crying now? Anyway, whatever we need to do this segment, any way you want it.
Tell you what, I'm going to scrap the Halliburton. We're going to come back next with that.
All right, let's just all go our separate ways.
All right.
All right.
He's got 9 lives.
We're
over
going to have a little bit of fun with audio here. Long Beach State University head coach Dan Monson, he was on the podium ahead of his NCAA tournament game, and he was asked what it was like to watch film with his team following the news that he would be fired following the end of the season.
Probably hysteria.
And you're watching film and you hear guys sniffling and everything. And so the first thing I said is, just bonding together and this galvanizing is not going to be enough. Our defense has got to get better. We've got to be a better basketball team this week. And I said, just look at this first defensive clip, guys. I said, we close out short here. I said, the guy's wide open. We don't get a contest. These are the kind of plays that would get a coach fired. And the whole room just broke up. And it just started right then. It was like, okay, we're going to be all right here.
That's just fantastic. For those that are wondering, Dan Monson has been fired and been told that he will be relieved of his coaching duties at the end of the season. They go on and they make a fortuitous run, win the conference tournament, and are in the NCAA tournament. And yet he's got to go in there. He doesn't have to. I'm sure the assistant coach could take over, but he's been there for such a long time, since 2008, 16 years, that it's his guys. He's gonna ride this thing out, and he has the foresight to break up the sad, sour tone.
Well, Arizona should mop the floor with them.
Yes.
Like they should. But the scariest team in a tournament is one that has nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
And when you don't get bogged down by all the pressures that come with the tournament, like that's where coaches get too tight. That's where players get too tight.
Play free and loose.
And this is a team that you're sitting there like, they're obviously coming into this thing saying, guys, we don't belong here. Our coach is already fired. We're just going to roll the ball out and we'll let the dust settle and we'll see where we're at after we play Arizona. That is terrifying, especially for a team with the recent tournament history that Arizona has. Which Arizona, the last 2 times that they have had like crippling tournament defeats, they have gotten so lucky. Because remember, DeAndre Ayton and Sean Miller, they lost as a 2 seed, 2 of 15, and Purdue ended up losing to UMBC that night. Last year, they lose as a 2 seed, and guess what happens? Purdue loses to Fairleigh Dickinson.
Oh.
They have gotten bailed out by like losses that everybody would remember
Of
and
epic
mock them
proportions.
for.
Yes.
But they've been overshadowed by 16 seeds beating a 1 seed the last 2 times that's happened. Yeah, you don't want to fall into this one again. if
Yeah,
you're
they're
Tommy
they're a
Lloyd.
2 seed again, and they might bleep around and find out.
Well, I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
I don't see that happening.
Remind me again, who won the Pac-12 tournament?
The Oregon Ducks.
Is
did.
that the Arizona Wildcats?
It is not the Arizona
Okay.
Wildcats.
I'm pretty sure that's another result that nobody saw happen.
Yeah.
Again.
Last year, didn't they lose to Princeton? They got Princeton last year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They lost to Princeton.
Yeah, they're
Princeton and 157-year-old Pete Carrill.
Yeah. Still going.
Still out there coaching them up.
Yeah, the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, the tournament history of Arizona basketball, it is not
In the last
been
10
good.
years particularly.
Guys, it has been a bloodbath for them. And obviously, they're the last Pac-12 team to win a national championship. But they have had crippling defeat after crippling defeat in the tournament. And you can't afford to have that happen again this year, because you have to start flexing your muscles when you head into the Big 12. Big 12 is going to be a basketball powerhouse when they enter next year.
It's disgusting.
Gonna be.
It ain't going to be the trip through the Pac-12 they've had in the regular season either.
No, even the lower end basketball teams there are very good.
Yeah. Was that no, it was 2018. They were a 13 seed they were a 4 seed and they lost to a 13 seed Buffalo with DeAndre Ayton on that team. They weren't a 2 seed in that.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make
They just
Arizona
lost to
fans
Buffalo.
very upset. Sorry, you were a 4 seed that lost to a 13. They need to make a run, man. It's always better when they're good at basketball, and making a run is a good way for the Pac-12 to go out. But you got to make it past. What they've been bouncing the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Last year, Princeton the first round. Come on, Tommy Lloyd, let's go.
Figure it out.
Get him going. But I'm fighting. I'm going for the fighting Munsons though.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to get Munsoned.
You don't want to get Munson
That's
or
what
Munsoned.
That's what's going to happen here.
Don't get Munson.
All right, coming up next, we will get into the Tyrese Halliburton debate and around sports psychology and gambling in sports. Coming up here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Oh, the Bushwhackers on Wrestling Wednesday.
You love that one, don't you?
Hell yeah. I love the Bushwhackers.
This sounds like 8-bit video game music. I do respect it.
And they were the 8-bit wrestling duo. The Bushwhackers were.
They were basically a real-life cartoon wrestling tag team.
Yeah, they were great.
Mike Tyson Punch-Out of wrestling.
100%
like
that's
it.
what they were.
Yeah.
And their blue little skivvies that they wore.
The sports world is in a very interesting position right now. We are on the impetus of federal gambling becoming a legal entity across the country. We are now at, I believe, 40 states that have some form of legalized sports wagering.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
We're up to that many.
Yeah.
Oh, good on
I think like 7 more open this year.
Okay.
It looks like, I mean, we're very likely to have federally legal gambling before we have federally legal marijuana, which is interesting when you think about it. But it has impacted things on a psychological standpoint for a lot of athletes and people that work in sports in general. I have talked to people in social media that manage team accounts that have told me some of the most heinous things they've ever seen in their life have come from sports gamblers. One DM that stands out is that was sent to a team account that said, "I hope the entire team plane crashes."
Oh.
Because their parlay didn't hit.
That seems reasonable.
Right?
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing.
And
to
you
wish
can
on
say,
somebody.
"Oh, just ignore it. Just ignore it." When it's just there all the time, you don't just get to ignore it. And eventually it seeps through. And this kind of came through as Tyrese Halliburton was talking about whether or not, or how he's worked with a sports psychologist, and if so, what that process looks like. And he gave a pretty in-depth and eye-opening answer.
I've done that for, kind of the last couple of years. It's been good for me, even when I'm not, I don't want to just talk to him when I'm struggling, I think there has to be a conversation at other times too, because I think, obviously what happens on the court is what happens on the court, but just life in general, it's important, I think, for us as basketball players, as men, to get those things out, because not everybody cares to hear how we feel, or that's just the point blank period. To half the world, I'm just helping them make money on DraftKings or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm a prop. You know what I mean? Like that's what my social media mostly consists of. I think it's important for us to have somebody to talk to, and I think all that stuff is it can be funny sometimes. And somebody's like, I lost $1,000. I don't give a you know what I mean? But, I do think that it's important for us to just have conversations with people who really value who we are as human beings, and it's not just sports psychology, but it's our teammates, it's our loved ones, it's people who really look out for our well-being, and that's important for me to just have those constant conversations.
It's a really interesting spot when you think about it, that it is dominating so much of not just a lot of sports discourse, but social media discourse.
I think that one of the important things that he said there is, before you fire off that tweet or DM to an athlete, they don't give an F, and that's what that big blank spot was. They don't give an F if you win or lose your bet. They don't care because you're the one that did it, and that is your fault for doing it.
And they don't
want to
hear about it.
Their fault for doing it. And this is where I think that people be like, "Oh, relax. I don't mean I want him to die." It's like, then you haven't been on the other side of it, and you haven't seen it over and over again, because if you're one person that's doing it, think of the other 5, 6, 7,
8,000
that end up doing that over the course of, a season, a year, a couple of years. And when you keep seeing it over and over again, I think that is where you think that it's your one-off tweet to the guy, but it's not.
No.
You are not the one-off. It keeps happening time and time again.
Endlessly. There was a player who I was talking to who told me they don't manage their social media. They have somebody else who manages it for them, but he has the login information, and every now and then he'll log in just to read it because he's just like, this is insane. But he doesn't want to see it all the time.
It's not healthy to
No,
do it.
but I get it. It's like, looking at the train wreck. you just kind of want to go, what the hell is going on here?
And you do it when you're in a good headspace.
Yeah,
and-
you're on the
and-
plane and you're just like, I wonder what these lunatics are saying.
But that's something that I think we all need to do as people, and I think that's one thing that Halliburton is talking about.
Mhm.
There is, it's not just a sports psychologist that he talks to about it. It's your teammates, it's the people around you, because you think of it as all the negativity that they get on social media or in arena when people are heckling you and yelling. It does chip away at you little by little, and having that openness and willingness to talk, it's a really tough thing to do.
It is.
It's hard for you to do with even the people that you're closest to, but it is a thing that is healthy, especially when you're bombarded with negativity.
Yep. And for those wondering, the Portland Trailblazers do have a team psychologist, Dr. Green. She is around. Today, perfect example. When we get off air, I'm going to drive the 5 minutes across the bridge and get in that building at like 3:15, right? I will get out there. Dr. Green will be on the bench as guys are going through all their warmups, and they will all, at some point in time, come over and just talk to her. They're just coming. She is always just available to them.
It's amazing.
Yes, and it's not that she's out there, doing psychology stuff. They're not working through a tragedy. It's just having a relationship, having that open communication, somebody to talk to about whatever.
It's fascinating to see, though, kind of the people that have been at the forefront of that, because I was reading a story this week or over the weekend about John Calipari, and one of the first people that he hired when he got to Kentucky was the team psychologist, just to be there and he's kind of been the right-hand man for Cal, is the person that's the intermediary too, between the coach and the player, and just getting things out there. And they don't tell the coach or the organization in professional sports what the exact things are that's bothering a player, but they can say, hey, look, so and so's struggling right now. That's a guy, and it tells coaches too, is valuable part of sports performance, is when you can push those buttons and you start learning how you can push those buttons to maximize that individual in a team context. And sports psychology is really important at the highest levels of sports right now.
And the envelopes that they're pushing and the things that they're trying to help people take care of mentally, emotionally, that's all a huge part of this, because it's not people getting softer. It's the world getting, I think, more coarse.
Aware. The world is aware.
Yeah.
More so than ever.
And so on both fronts, both positively and negatively.
I think that when you look at this too, like gambling was the question posed with Halliburton. The crazy thing is that, we now have 40 states with legalized gambling, and like guys will call out the parlay. This was happening before sports gambling was legalized, though.
Oh, yeah. No.
And it wasn't just about
now
betting.
It's everywhere.
It's not just about betting, though. It is just your performance. And I mean, hell, we know this from Myers Leonard here in Portland. Myers Leonard was booed by the home fans in Moda Center a few years back. That's not about gambling.
No.
That's about idiot fans.
Yes.
Who think that they can just say what they want and do what they want.
And it hurt him.
Under the guise of anonymity. Yeah. And it's one, cruel.
It genuinely hurt him.
But the other part of it is, if you were sitting across the table from him, you wouldn't say it.
No.
You wouldn't do it. And that's like one of the things about social media, is that so many people will just fire off whatever they're feeling.
Some anime,
and it's the dumbest thing
background.
ever.
Yeah. It's, as soon as you see that, but it's even when you know that, it's still difficult to process.
For sure.
Because we're all human. So there you go. That's
don't be a moron on socials.
No, don't. It's you can be stupid, just don't be a moron.
Don't be stupid on socials either.
Stupid's fun sometimes. It's okay. I'm okay with it. All right, coming up next, we'll have a little bit more fun with audio, and on the not so fun side, Major League Baseball likes bombs, but not all of them. But first, it's Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Enjoy some Kahlua Pig, Terry Chicken, and an island cocktail at Burnside, Woodstock, or order online at ate-oh-ate.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers start a 3-game homestand tonight with the first of 2 against the Clippers. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. Malcolm Brogdon, Shaden Sharp still out. Jeremy Grant doubtful with a right hamstring strain. Matisse Thybulle, Anthony Simons, Ashton Higgins are all questionable. The Blazers are 12.5-point underdogs. The Detroit Pistons announced rookie swingman Osar Thompson will miss the rest of the season due to a blood clot. Over on the college hard court, the first 4 continues this afternoon. In a 3:40 tip, Grambling and Montana State face off for the right to play number 1 seed Purdue. That's followed by Colorado and Boise State, with the winner playing 7 seed Florida on Friday. Both games can be seen on True TV. And the 2024 Major League Baseball season officially started early this morning in Seoul, South Korea. The Dodgers breaking up a pitcher's duel with a 4-run 8th inning to beat the Padres 5-2. Shohei Ohtani 2 for 5 with an RBI single in his Dodgers debut. The same 2 teams back at it tomorrow morning or late tonight or what have you. 3 a.m. on ESPN. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigard is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Baseball's back.
Yeah, it stuck up on us here. The
did.
unofficial opening day over in South Korea.
Which, man, they turn out for the baseball.
Baseball in Asia is way more fun than baseball in America.
It's a party.
Whether it's Japan, Korea, Thailand,
Mhm.
or Chinese Taipei, not Thailand. Don't know if they played baseball in Thailand.
Taiwan. Yeah.
They go all out. They have bands, they have cheerleaders,
Cheerleaders.
laser light
Oh, yeah,
shows are happening. Their all-star games have bunting competitions like that people go nuts over.
I believe
It's awesome.
I believe it's pronounced Thailand.
Thailand, yeah. Thailand.
No, that's what it's like here when the sun comes out.
Yeah,
Strip Club Row.
It's way more fun to watch the videos that come out of like the Japanese league or the Korean league because of the entertainment value and the way that people get into it. They treat it like a football game. It's what I wish baseball was here, but we are so stuck in the mud with baseball and the traditionalists. And look, I get it. It is fun to go to a ballpark and just hang out and watch the action. It's not an up-tempo sport, but that doesn't mean it can't be a fun environment to be in. And that's what I love about these international games.
It can when before the opening matchup in Korea against the San Diego Padres, if somebody sends in a bomb threat to blow up the building ahead of time.
Yeah, that was a weird little note out of Seoul in that apparently they sent an email to the authorities saying that they wanted to bomb and injure Shohei Ohtani for whatever reason. Like, who doesn't like Shohei Ohtani?
I would.
Like, what does this guy not like about Shohei Ohtani?
I'm gonna go with Giants fans.
And even then, they're
Maybe.
like, "Oh, Shohei's so nice.
He is. He's a lovable
He's
guy.
got to have like 100% approval rating."
He's 99.999% because this guy didn't like him. It didn't affect Ohtani though, or the game because Ohtani went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Still, his swing is so beautiful.
Oh God, it's great.
It is just flawless.
Nothing will beat Ken Griffey Jr.'s, but it's close.
The response from Major League Baseball is what got me though, because Major League Baseball, they investigated the matter. They saw that this was just one idiot, unserious in his threat to bomb the stadium before. But the person clearly said that Shohei Ohtani was the target here, and they just want to injure others too, right? Major League Baseball statement said, the safety and security of our fans and everyone in the ballparks is where we play is our top priority.
No, it was actually.
How about the players?
Yeah,
the players and fans.
To be honest, I think they said that, but it was actually the safety and security of the $700 million man was probably their priority.
Yeah, and it should be.
Yeah.
And it should be.
So
it's a weird start. It's good to have baseball back in regular season baseball. They're going to play again at 3 a.m. So, I mean, you'll probably watch that game live.
Crackhead hours, baby.
Yeah, you roll those crackhead hours.
Well, I do only have to work for a half hour tomorrow.
I think it's Shea Serrano that always says those are like prime writing hours.
He's not wrong. The Alex Sarr piece that I got done, I finished that at about 2:30. So yeah, that tracks, 100%.
Yeah,
what it is. Also in Shohei Ohtani news, breaking news, as a article from the LA Times says the Shohei Ohtani's attorney is accusing Shohei Ohtani's interpreter of massive theft tied to alleged gambling. So it's been a rough week for Shohei.
This is a bizarre story because
this just broke 25 minutes ago.
Apparently, so Ippei Mizuhara, who was Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, and like his right-hand man, like Shohei Ohtani speaks enough English to where he can get by.
But he just chooses.
But this is his guy, right? And very similar to Ichiro, like had the same thing. But Mizuhara's name popped up in an investigation with this guy named Matthew Bauer, who is he's an Orange County guy, but he's being looked into by the feds for illegal bookmaking. And this is the part that I just can't wrap my head around. Over the course of months, apparently Mizuhara got his hands on millions of dollars of Ohtani's and was placing bets with this bookmaker. Millions of dollars. How does your interpreter have access to millions of your dollars?
Access to your funds.
Is he just sitting there with like Zotani? Just literally, we say a $700 million contract. He's like sleeping on a bed of cash. Is that literally what is happening with Otani? Because how does
because it's deferred.
millions of dollars just like, yeah, this guy's just whoop.
It was
Did
deferred
he
to his
give him a
interpreter.
debit card and was like, hey, bro, have at it.
This one's
How
got
does
access
this
to
happen?
to the PJ. Like,
Yeah. How do you?
I don't.
The ways that these guys get money, and what
It's
I'm sure
trust.
happen is, you build that trust up with the guy. And he's like, hey, can you loan me some cash? Hey, can you loan me some cash? And
Or
it
he
just
just
keeps
gives.
happening.
He
and
does
happening.
give him a card because if he's in your interpreter, he's with you all the time.
all the time. He's
All-
everywhere you go.
He is your. I would imagine it's not the same, but similar to our military interpreters. Like when we were over there, we had to have interpreters regularly, and we had to trust these guys with our lives. Now, it's not the same on that extent, but you're trusting them with your not only your social currency, but your actual currency. Because they're probably, if he's with him all the time, he's probably also running some errands for him. He's probably also helping him with things. He's also managing other things that require money. So instead of being like, hey, Shohei, Venmo me, he gets the Shohei card or access to the bank. And it's just, yeah, no, you've got this to take care of, this to take care of, this to take care of. And I'm sure Shohei probably doesn't check his freaking bank account.
And
all
look,
that
he
often.
came
Well, so
over
it's
with him from the Angels to the Dodgers. And so, like, this literally is it. We see this all the time in sports, though. How many times do professional athletes get ripped off by family members?
Oh, God.
By their agents, by their marketing managers, by their best friends and the people that are close to them. This happens time and time again. Like, this is nothing new, but that tells you, like, it's not just an interpreter. It's one of your closest confidants and really your best friend, because it's the person that you were with right when you come over and you are attached at the hip together all the time.
But are you really giving this person access to like your personal
shouldn't.
account? You don't have like a secondary
Sure.
business, whatever
Or
have
this is
you
the main.
account for, But I mean,
Or maybe he has multiple accounts with millions of dollars because he's worth a billy.
So apparently the Dodgers fired him on Wednesday,
Mhm.
the interpreter. Like, they're just going to leave him in South Korea? Like, or did they bring him over there? Like,
I don't know. He's got
when did-
millions.
well,
Like,
and how
this
does that
news
work with the
just broke.
international dateline?
Ooh, it's a good question. That has been a mind, you know what, for me. They're like, the game is being played on Thursday, Wednesday morning at 3 a.m. Our the
like,
international
huh?
dateline gets me.
Yeah, no.
Time
So
travel.
they fired him Wednesday, and they're gonna fly back, and it's still
On Wednesday?
Wednesday.
You can do it.
That's right.
Tuesday.
right.
The one that always stands out to me with this was back in early 2013, 2014. Jack Johnson played for the Colorado Avalanche and then the Blue Jackets. His parents stole $20 million from him. He was broke.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, it's just wild. Like
Yep.
his parents was like, "No, we're gonna buy this and buy this and buy this and buy this," and you say, "Oh, well, why do they have access? Because you trust them."
I love my parents, and my parents love me, and sometimes things have to go back and forth. But you know what? I don't have access to their checking account, nor do they have access to mine.
Well, clearly you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Go make $40 million real quick,
Yeah.
dude. All right.
Find out who has access to what then.
As an 18-year-old. I think that's where it happens. Is like, I think that is where the theft happens, is like you're sitting there going, I'm too irresponsible to handle all of this money. And your parents, you always seem that they are far more responsible. Like, they have it figured out. Here to tell you, kids, parents don't have it figured out. We're white knuckling this thing.
Yeah, right here.
Actually, your parents do have it figured out. Listen to them.
Yes, we know exactly what we're talking about.
Throughout everything.
Indeed. All right, coming up next, we'll put a nice little bow on today's show before we get ready to hand you off to Isaac and Stu. Come up here next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Baseball. And, well, it wasn't all great news between a bomb threat and now Shohei Ohtani's interpreter being fired for allegedly stealing millions of dollars from his client and probably very good friend.
Not good, Bob.
On the good news front, can I introduce or can I interest you in some all-you-can-eat seats?
No.
Go on.
No.
I have Jeff Russ attentions. The Miami Marlins.
And that's where you lose me.
Oh. Well, for as little as $52, you can get tickets to a Miami Marlins game where you get all-you-can-eat seats. And what does that include? Hot dogs, chili dogs, nachos with cheese, chili nachos, cheeseburgers, popcorn, peanuts, cookies, non-alcohol beverages, and water.
Damn.
Which means you can have as much as you want between the time you get there and the end of the 7th inning. You just have to stay in your area. And if you want booze, you got to pay for that.
Okay.
And you can only take 4 items at a time.
Okay, so you have the 7th inning, all you can
they are
eat.
really underestimating some people.
I mean, $52 is where this thing starts, though. And, like, right there, you're looking at, you take your family of 4, and this is, of course, before all the taxes and fees on your tickets. You're looking at, $208 for a family of 4. It's probably what you're spending in going to the concession stand, too. So the fact that you can go back and go for more,
sure,
yeah, that makes sense. But that is a lot of food. Like, you're going to be
It's a
getting
decent selection of crappy ballpark food.
Do we know where these seats are?
They say they're in sections 201 through 204.
All right, that doesn't sound bad.
That sounds
like good seating at Marlins Ballpark. But again, you're having to go and watch the Miami Marlins. But any day at the ballpark is a good day at the ballpark.
Gotta get butts in the seats, right?
Sure do.
Okay, so you can go there. There's a Rate Your Seats website that will give you sight lines.
Yeah.
Buddy,
you're looking right down the first base line.
These are good seats.
They're great seats. Yeah, I'm in on
These
this.
are great. I'm in on this.
Yeah, it's a great little plan to get people back in the ballpark. Now, the lines are probably going to be. This is what they're going to do. They're going to make it so it's so difficult to. Well, you're going to get backed up in a lot of ways there. Chili dogs, sucking on the chili dogs. But they're going to probably have one concession stand that you can go to for like 2 full sections of the ballpark.
Indeed, and they'll have 3 beer ones that are next to it.
That's where they're going to get their money. Like, they will get their pound of flesh. Like, any deal like this is always too good to be true.
It's not in Atlanta, though.
No, at Atlanta, they have it figured out.
That's
Falcon
the thing.
Stadium, Mercedes-Benz has got it figured out.
I think you're going to see, over the next 5 to 10 years, more arenas going to that model.
See, but we thought that when the Falcons came out with this almost a decade ago now.